Hey everyone, this is Chris Tiroff, Traverse Creek Incorporated. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and press a bearing into this Homelite 360 piston. This is aftermarket piston manufactured by VEC, which is the same company that produces golf pistons, VEC pistons. And basically this is the only aftermarket one available out there, regardless of what the brand is. Not my favorite brand of pistons, or not my favorite manufacturer of pistons, manufactured in India. The castings are always a little bit kind of funky looking, porous, and yeah, I'm not crazy about them, but sometimes it's the only replacement available out there, so you just got to go with it. Now, I got a buddy out there, his name's Andrew. It's kind of the genesis of why I'm doing this. He's tried to press the bearing into these a couple times, and then he says he gets it just almost all the way in, and then it cracks, somewhere, in this housing. And if you look at that, the casting kind of is not the greatest. And even you look here, there's kind of like some burrs on the casting. So we kind of have a little bet going that I told him, I said I could press it in there. I said I could press it in there and have no problem and not break it. So he kind of gave me the challenge here. So I'm gonna try it today, and so we'll see what ends up happening. So this is the type of this is the type of piston that has a like a drawn cup roller bearing in each side, and then the wrist pin is actually press fit into the connecting rod itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get those bearings set down into the piston. Now what these are is this is just like a B65 drawn cup roller bearing. So you got one convex side and then a flat side. You always want to press the convex side into the bearing first. And we're going to use this tool that I have that we use for situations such as this one. And then you can always take this adapter off the end. And like I said, I think my buddy said that he busted like 2 or 3 of these. And so you could take this adapter off the end and then use this and press up against this. But the problem with this is we already know that this is broken a couple times, and the casting is pretty porous. So what we're going to do is we're going to try a different method. So we're going to put this adapter back on. And then one of the other things I did in preparation for this, anytime you have something that's press fit, you want to make sure the surfaces are clean and free of any debris. So these pistons actually, they've got like a coating of oil on them from the factory, and so do the bearings. So I just sprayed them off with a little bit of carburetor cleaner and wiped the oil off of there. So what I did is I'm going to put that adapter back on here, and that fits really good up against the piston, where the ring lands are at. That fits really good. But the problem is, you've got some gaps in between the skirts here. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get set up here. I'm going to get this, let me see here. I'm going to take that all the way in. We're going to get that relatively set up there. Back this out until I got a little tension on the piston. Now what we have to do when we're doing this is we have to be very careful that we don't mar the piston. So I got a solution for that too. So what I want to make sure is that I'm butted up against the piston here. Okay. What I'm going to do is just back this off a fuzz. And then I cut this cardboard into strips. I'm going to shim this piston so I don't mar it. Then it also takes up any of the extra slack. And then this is just something I'm going to have to do by eye to figure out if it's straight or not. And you just want to make sure that you're very careful when you're doing this, because you can mar the edges of the skirt. And then if you get them bent over, it's gonna, scrape up your cylinder. And you just want to make sure that as you're doing this, everything's kind of going in tight there and straight. So I'm going to have to play around here to get a good idea of what's going on. That bearing is kind of starting in there crooked. I don't like the way that's looking there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this bearing back out. All right. And then this is all just a game here, trying to get everything straight and lined up so it looks right. And you don't want to create, because if you got it crooked, it's never going to go in right. I think we got it. Yep, everything looks relatively straight to me. So we're going to try it and see what do we got to lose, right? What's up, buddy? Hold on just a second. I got a guy coming in. All right, we're back. Now we're going to do this thing. All right. Oh, baby, she's going in. Oh, man. She's getting a little tight. And then generally what you're going to want to do too whenever you're doing this is you're going to want to index the bearings on the old piston where they're at. I'm just going to run this in till it's flush with the outside. I'm not 100% positive how these are supposed to go. I don't have something here to check. Oh, baby, that is about as good as it's going to get there. And I believe a lot of the Macs and stuff like that, they kind of sit just like that. So I'm thinking that that's good right like that. Then we're just going to undo it. Going over to the other side. And as you can see, the edges of the piston aren't damaged at all. And then we're just going to go do the one on the other side. So we're halfway through. And then again, you just want to have this convex side facing in, that tapered side. And this is going to be the same here. We're just going to want to make sure everything's relatively straight as we're getting started here. That's the most important part. If you got something that's off, she ain't going to work right. you're going to end up busting something. So we're going to put our shims back in here and make sure we don't mess up the edges of the piston skirt. We're going to try and make sure everything's kind of lined up straight. And we're going to get rid of the beans. See, that one just went right in nice. So we're just going to take it in a fuzz further. See that one? She's almost all the way in. We're going to just try this other side again. See if we can walk it in just a fuzz further. Yeah. Got some guys working outside, so it's probably picking up some sound of the guys scraping some paint. And you just want to have enough shim in there that doesn't allow it to cut down into the piston or anything like that. Let's see if we can just walk that in there a fuzz further. Yep. Then a lot of times what I've noticed about some of these, some of the piston manufacturing is that a lot of the old American stuff, there it is, that's perfect. A lot of the old American stuff is all done in, you know, imperial measurements. And, you know, all the tooling is set up for metric. So like in some of the real fine measurements, you can get it close, but some of the loose measurements, it's tough for them to get it close because they don't have all the right tooling for everything. So there you go. That bearing is press fit in there, and that piston didn't get broke at all. So it does take a little bit of patience, but it can be done. So guess I won that challenge.